All right, peace and blessings, everybody. It's December the 12th, 2018, Wednesday. I wanted to give an update on Mike Parsons as best as I can, and then also give an update on an interaction with the devil. But basically, Mike Parsons, as you guys know, got sentenced to 7 years, and I think that's an atrocity of justice. I think the judge, I think his name is John Gerard or something like that. I think he's a devil straight from the loins of hell. And I think the lawyers, the defense team and the prosecutor involved in Mike's case are both devils. The Bible calls out one profession specifically. It does not say, woe to you car mechanics, or woe to you roofers, or woe to you doctors. It says, woe to you lawyers. And therefore I have an innate hatred for the profession of lawyers. But anyway, I heard that Mike Parsons got moved to Leavenworth, Kansas prison this morning. I do not know that for sure. When I try to locate a Michael Parsons on BOP.gov with either his number or his name, I only come up with a Michael Richards Parsons who's 26 years old, so I know that's not the right Michael Parsons. So he's probably not in the federal BOP system yet. One thing that I expect to be a good thing is that once he's in the federal system, I expect that he'll be able to communicate directly with his wife. And so I think it's satanic that they have not allowed Michael Parsons and Pat Parsons to be able to communicate directly with one another all this time. But once they're both in federal prison, just like Ed and Elaine Brown, just like Lonnie and Karen Vernon, and now just like Mike and Pat Parsons, I would expect that the avenues would open up where they can communicate directly between each other. As soon as I get confirmation that Michael Parsons is in Leavenworth, Kansas prison, I will update the Year of Jubilee website. Now here is Pat Parsons. She got entrapped by the FBI. The FBI, the name of my website is IHateTheFBI.com. Anybody who draws a paycheck from the FBI, whether as an informant or an employee, your father is of the devil. He was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. Anybody who's employed by the FBI is employed by Satan, as far as I'm concerned. But the FBI entrapped Pat Parsons. She is a grandmotherly figure that should not be spending her time in prison. Shortly after she checked herself into the Alabama prison, a lady died due to neglect of medical care, and she wrote extensively about that. So I do encourage you to check out their website, yearofjubilee.com/MikePatSue. I encourage you to go down and check this video out, Pat Parsons' statement prior to surrendering herself to an Alabama prison. If you click on this, it takes you to this video right here. It's 7.5 minutes long, and you can listen to what Pat had to say before she checked herself in to an Alabama prison. I am able to communicate with Pat via CoreLink's prison email system. And as you guys know, there are devils. These people literally drip with evil. Every word that they speak is biased. Every word that they speak is intended to slander. Every word that they speak is intended to destroy. These people have dark, wicked hearts. And they show up on my YouTube channel in order to continue to slander and lie about prisoners that I advocate for. One of them is Pat Parsons. Now, one of them goes by the name of Luke McCann. Now, you know that's not his real name. All of these people are anonymous, and I believe strongly that somehow, some way, these people are getting reimbursed through fiat money by the Federal Reserve in order for them to be so passionate about the hatred they carry for the prisoners that I advocate for. But let's read what Luke McCann had to say about Pat Parsons and Mike Parsons. He said, "It is important to note that the Parsons were not entrapped." Anytime I say anything, he always says the opposite. Mike was scammed and believed he could legally hire bounty hunters to arrest a judge and a sheriff. As a result of them being deceived in this way, Miss Parsons called a bounty hunting company to try and act on a fake warrants. So he makes this statement that Miss Parsons, referring to Pat Parsons, which is this lady right here, by the way. Does she look like a dangerous criminal who needs to spend time in prison? Does this lady right here look like a dangerous lady to you who needs to spend all her time in prison? He goes on to say, deceived in this way, Miss Parsons called a bounty hunting company to try and act on the fake warrant. Immediately when he said that, I knew that was a lie. I put a response to him, you're a damn liar. Miss Parsons was contacted by the FBI. She did not call anyone. Your time on my channel is over. Have your handlers open up another bogus account to spew your devil lies. I can't stop them from coming to my channel. When they start outright lying about the prisoners that I advocate for, their time is over with. Because in a normal world where Wikipedia and people make claims that people did illegal things, you can sue people for slander and libel. But you can't in this world because the establishment is part of the wicked satanic infrastructure. And so they can say anything they want and they get away with it. That's why Wikipedia could say such slanderous things about Ken Hovind. And there's very little that can be done about it. I tried to change Wikipedia, and they banned me from having a Wikipedia account, just like they banned me from communicating with certain prisons. So I wrote a letter back to Pat Parsons, and I shared with her that conversation. I wrote to Pat Parsons, I pray you are well. Please don't feel obligated to respond, but ever since we have put out videos and phone calls from Mike about your case, there has been a devilish band of hyenas that have shown up and tried to justify the government's case to entrap and incarcerate you and Mike. I wanted you to see the short exchange below. If I am wrong, please feel free to correct me. It was my understanding that they, the FBI devils, reached out to you, and it was not the other way around. So she did respond, and I want to read to you her response. But, you know, I got to be careful because she's just focusing on surviving right now. She already saw a fellow prisoner die of medical neglect. I don't know what kind of challenges she has on a daily basis, and she doesn't seem to me to be the person who whines and complains a lot. And so I can't keep throwing her questions all the time without being sensitive to the situation that she's in. But she did respond, and I praise God, and I want you to hear it. She wrote back, hey, Rudy, I never, and she capitalizes the word never, I never contacted anyone. The only calls I made were to ask someone to call Sue or her to call someone. The only thing Sue told me was that she hired a police force, which I knew she was looking for. God bless and walk sacred. So this statement by this devil that Miss Parsons called a bounty hunting company, that's a blatant lie. This guy is, see, these people, they don't care what the truth is. They have no compassion in their heart for Pat Parsons. They have no compassion in their heart for Mike Parsons. They want to see Schaefer murdered in prison. They love the fact that Russell Landers has spent 22 years in prison and hasn't even spent halfway his entire sentence. He's still got 23 years to go. They have no compassion on Yuri Von Kahl or Scott Fall. They have no compassion on Jeffrey Winehouse. In their mind, Jeffrey Winehouse should have been murdered. And they think it's just fine. These people, when their time comes, when justice rains down like a mighty river and God separates the wheat and the tares, don't be crying for these people, because they took pleasure in the suffering and the persecution of God's children. And so I'm telling you, the Bible talks about people like this, and it says, pray not for these people. Psalms 109 is, if you are going to pray for them, Psalms 109 is a good example. Take care and God bless.